everybody, and welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division in the Touchdown Tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can be a patron today, get our $2 special, or you get and subscribe to the Ultimate Tournament Text Guide so you can crush tournaments with us here in February and going forward. You will see an info box on the right hand side where you find the elevation adjustment for the drive and then for the second shot. After that, you see the ball that I would suggest you to play with. Underneath there, you will see the balls that I would see, the clubs that I do see being very valuable to play with in this, on specific holes and in this playthrough. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1 in Pro, we are going to play with a 20% over adjustment here with our driver. And I want to play with a berserker ball here. The reason I want us to play with that is because we do have a very hard wind to play with, I would have to say. I'm playing with an extra mile level 7, and obviously if you do have a driver with more distance, like an Apocalypse level 5+, extra mile level 8, level 9, you play with that club instead. We're going to play with 4 bars of backspin and as much side spin to the left possible. In the end, we're going to then adjust for maximum distance of our club, and then we're going to go with overpower. And the overpower is going to be as the arrow is going towards the blue ring on top. If you look at the tip of the arrow, we do want to be just on top there of the blue ring. In the end, we can give ourselves a little bit more overpower to just be safe. But the only thing I'm looking for is to get it to green or fringe or fairway to just have an easy wedge or an easy putt taking the eagle. We will see people getting playing this one poorly actually with that type of wind. So in the end, make the eagle here and you put yourself in a very good position. For hole number 2, we do have a very good chance making a hole-in-one. The wind here is very similar to what we did have the last time we had this course in a tournament. Not entirely though, as we do have more crosswind, but we're gonna play it very similar. 1.5 bar topspin, and then we're going to play with 2 and 2 and a click side spin to the left. That's why the navigator here, in my opinion, is the ball to choose, because then you get the correct side spin. A little bit of the red ring outside the rough with the ball guideline pointing towards the hole. Then we're going to play with a maximum distance plus 10% here. And those maximum distance plus 10% is going to be needed to compensate for the wind push. Sniper is going to be the club, and then you know that you're going to be either in or it's going to be extremely close, making a hole-in-one on hole number 2. For hole number 3, we're going to start with the quarterback, and we're going to play with a katana ball as it keeps us to get to absolute maximum distance here with our drive. 4 bars of topspin and as much side spin to the right possible, and we use the blue ring of our quarterback to be just by the rough line to the right. Then we adjust for a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. And last but not least, we're going to go with curl. You can see that I'm just letting the ball touching the outside of the adjustment ring there to the right, to just give myself a little extra push there to the right, so we stay away from that crappy bunker that we do have there to the left. Yardage notes, super important, 334. Now, the approach here, there is a rough bump, which I was trying to do first. But as was explained then, or like advised then, was to use a little topspin to be able to stay away from having to adjust into the bushes. So use 1 bar of topspin and then you can adjust without having the bushes in your face. So, but I didn't really know that by then. So therefore I'm doing just a regular adjustment, and this is not a bad adjustment at all. And we play this one without elevation, medium distance from the distance we came with from the drive, from the 334 yard mark, and then we obviously need to hit perfect, and in the end we hit great right, but with a perfect this one would have been very close. So I don't think we need to play with a specific special ball here, Katana is absolutely perfect. 10% for the drive, nothing for the second shot, and then you're gonna be there. So, my friends, on hole number 4, we're going to go for green, and that doesn't really matter what type of driver you're having, but the wind is definitely in our favor, and we're going to choose to play with a berserker ball. Look where my yellow ring is. It is just there on the top left corner of that fairway in max distance. And we're using max side spin to the right with 1 bar of backspin. The thing that we then do is that we adjust for a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, turn the screen around, push up your target into max, and then you go with 1.5 ball of curl. And the reason I say 1.5 ball of curl is because with an extra mile level 7, that's maximum curl with extra mile level 7, but it's not maximum curl with an extra mile level 8 or with an apocalypse or something like that. So really have that in mind. And that's going to take us, now we did hit great left that went through the trees, but I do believe we need to gamble with that we maybe at some point going to clip the tree. But the wind is too good to not go for green here, unfortunately, because I don't really like it, but we do have to suggest it. So in the end, we do want to bounce 1 bar of backspin. Either we go directly at the green or we clip the rough and roll out, which is like the second alternative. And then we do have a wedge or a putt. Don't think for a second that this wedge is easy. The green is super duper bumpy, so be focused, get that eagle, because that eagle is not something that everyone will be getting. So this will be a little extra bonus for you. For hole number 5, we are going to play with the sniper here and a katana ball. Once again, I would like us to look for maximum distance of our club. I think that's always going to be easier to look for max distance or minimum distance of any of the clubs that we're playing for. So now I'm actually going to bounce over the bunker here, trying to get this ball obviously in for a hole-in-one. Maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment is what I do play, but I would like us to maybe look at to actually add a 5% or a 10% more to suit the adjustment that we do have, or that we change the spin a little bit, because we're going to miss to the right hand side. And this is going to be a very difficult par 3 to get any consistency on, but I do truly believe that if we bounce over the bunker, we will be able to find ourselves with a nice spot where we don't have to go with curl. When we're playing hole number 6, we can do it 2 ways. I'm going to show you one more conservative way, and I'm going to show you one more aggressive way, and you will have to decide yourself what way you want to play. First, we're going to play the more conservative way, and we're going to play and lay up with a quarterback. So we are looking for the quarterback here to change to that, combined with actually changing to a quasar ball. And we're looking for the blue ring to be there by the rough line, starting at plus a 3-yard mark. And now you can see that I'm a little bit further out than I want to. I'm using the white ring there. So in the end, using the blue ring would be better, because then we will come in more to the left. Use a little bit of curl to the left, not much at all. And the only thing we're looking for is to get this ball down the fairway, getting a nice distance here for our first shot. And very important to take a note of the yardage, 314. So the second shot here, we're going to bounce before the rough. I'm going to bounce up towards the pin. Here it is very, very important to make sure that you're using the correct amount of backspin here, so you're not coming too hot or you're not coming too, slow either. I'm leaving the ball guideline a little bit short here, maybe a little bit too short, as I would like to remove a little bit of backspin now in the end. No elevation whatsoever for this shot, and we're going to adjust here for medium distance of our club. So we're going to take our shot, and you're going to notice that this is going to be extremely close, but we are lacking a little bit of distance here. So the ball bounces and it rolls, and we get a nice camera angle, but it slows down and just turn off there to the left. So if you come in too slow, it's going to turn on you to the left in the end. So let's take a look at the more aggressive route, and please have in mind that an extra mile level 9 is something for you to ignore. You can play this shot with an extra mile even down to level 4 if you would like to. I'm using 4.5 bar back top spin and 2 bars left spin, and the reason I'm using 4.5 bar top spin is because I'm using I'm going to use the same amount of spin that is possible to have with lower level extra mile. Max overpower and a little bit of curl to the right, and we're going to bounce on the fairway over to the other fairway. And if you haven't noticed it already, we're using a berserker ball, so we do get the distance. 429 yards will leave us up for a nice short iron approach towards the pin. You don't have to play with a thorn, you can play with a hornet or with a falcon or any other short iron that you might have. So in the end, we're going to aim for the pin here. Very important that we do give ourselves once again the correct adjustment for this second shot. Otherwise we're going to lip to the right or lip to the left, and that's not going to be something that we do want to do. So in the end, we adjust our shot without any elevation included, and we're going to take our shot and we're going to be extremely close to making an albatross. So if you feel comfortable by going with overpower with your drive, then you go for the more aggressive route. If you don't, then you lay up, because the thing that can happen with going max overpower is that you can end up into the water, you can end up getting stuck into the rough or into the sand and have a struggling time to get the eagle. Those risks is always going to be there when you play overpower, but that risk is not there if you play conservative, so have that in mind. For hole number 7, we're going to start by playing out to the left hand side, because we do want to get ourselves into short iron or long iron range. Max top spin and as much side spin to the right possible, and then we're going to adjust for a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. So we're using a katana ball because we don't really need to use any other ball, and I think it's important then to just skip playing with the power 3 balls, save them to different courses or like different holes instead. We're getting it over there, getting into a nice distance, as you can see on the yardage, being as much as 333 yards. From there, you can see we are in absolute minimum distance of our club when it comes to long iron. That's actually a perfect spot, I will have to say. I'm going to play this one with around 4.5 to 5 bars of backspin. It all depends on how far I did go with my drive, because if I am in medium or maximum distance with my long iron, then I'm going to use more backspin, and if I am, you know, closer towards the pin, then it's going to be a short iron. So make sure that your long iron is going to have that amount of backspin. So if you don't have a Goliath in a decent level, I would suggest you to maybe play with a Saturn that normally have a very good backspin level already from the start. 10% over adjustment, and we play minimum distance here. The ball bounces nicely on the fringe. We're getting it in for a nice little eagle. For hole number 8, we're going to play with a Kingmaker here, and this is one of the few times we're actually going to use a very good ball here in this playthrough. I would like us to play with the blue ring slightly inside the rough with the ball guideline to the hole. So a very, very simple adjustment. So no spin whatsoever, and the thing we're gonna do is that we're going to adjust it for a maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment. It's also very important that you're having a slight pull angle pointing 1201. I'm gonna start adding that, and if you do want to know more about that, you know, please comment in the comment section below or send us an email. So we bounce on the fairway very nicely, bounce nicely, and it comes in roll for a very nice hole-in-one. So Kingmaker, Sniper, maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment, no spin, and then you're gonna be very close, if not in, for a nice hole-in-one. Last but not least in this playthrough, you will see me playing hole number 9, and here we're playing with an extra mile level 7, and I want you to play with a berserker ball. The reason for that, it's because if you're going to play with a power 3 ball, you are going to have to be lucky having a very strong wind if you're going to make it over only using 4.5 bar topspin. Or you're doing as we're doing here now, you play with with a berserker ball, so we can go with max overpower, max topspin, and as much side spin to the right possible. I also want you to use a tiny bit of curl to the right just to keep ourselves on the right hand side, so we're not clipping the rough there on the left, which is highly possible only using 4.5 bar topspin. If you do have a club that has more topspin, like the Extra level 8 or 9 or any other club, then you can play with a Kingmaker and still be able to clear it, but you still need to go with max overpower, at least with an Extra level 8. But with an Extra level 9 with that much topspin, you can go just with a tiny bit of overpower, if any. And the thing is though, now we're playing with a Berserker. I've been playing the rough bump here, and listen, it is a good shot with a rough bump, but when having high wind, as we do have with a Berserker ball, we're going to adjust out on the fairway, and that's going to have a little effect on, you know, on our ball or like on our flight path, which means that it's very easy to miss the rough. So I would only suggest the rough bump if you are able to play with a Kingmaker that doesn't give you much wind. Then you can keep yourself in the rough with your hop full adjustment. With the Berserker ball, for an example, it is super easy to miss the rough, and that is very important for me to have said, because I don't want to suggest something and then with a specific type of wind you're gonna miss the rough and bounce over into the other rough, and then it's going to be extremely difficult to save that eagle, even though this is going to be a nice chance for an albatross. No elevation for the second shot, 10% for the first shot. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Pro. Make sure you comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. Also, join patreon.com/golfclashtommy and get the text guides and improve your tournament play today. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck.